Welcome back. All right, so we're going to a game six. So for tonight, I'm wearing the '80s style Islanders. You can tell by the stripes on the bottom. It's basically the one difference between what they wear now and what they wore back then, other than the neckline differences and all that. But yeah, the Islanders, a team that was down 2-1 against Boston, down 2-1 against Pittsburgh, came into tonight down 2-1 against Tampa. Really doesn't bother them. Game fours, they play on home ice. They play in front of that raucous crowd. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Now, just arriving at my door just before I started recording this are these. Now, in honor of Euro being played right now, and the fact that I can't follow Euro as much as I'd like to, yellow cards and red cards, I am fully capable and willing to use these in reviews, but there's nothing in tonight's game that I look at and I go, now that's a yellow card or that's a red card. So, because I'm not going to do that with penalties, it's more of a if there's missed calls or just something dumb happens. And just what are you thinking? So I reserve the right to throw up a yellow card or a red card during reviews from here on going forward, and that may become a thing going into next season. I was watching a game in Euro and a yellow card came out, and I thought, hey, that's kind of fun. That's a good idea. So yeah, the Islanders were down. Great anthem beforehand. The fans really into this, singing along. I like that. I like seeing the fans really into this. First save was for Varlamov. The serenades, the chants get started early on. The fans, again, quite boisterous. Palat then shoots one wide. The shots were actually 3-1 in favor of the Bolts at 2 minutes. So they came out pretty good. Johnson fires one high. Kucherov falls. The Islanders get a 3-on-1. And Paul Murray ends up hitting the post. It was a post away from being 1-0 in favor of the Islanders. So, Killorn had a net drive. Varlamov makes the save there. Varlamov then denied Colton. Shots were actually up to 6-1 at this point in favor of Tampa. It really felt like last night. And all I could think was, didn't I see this last night? I kind of know how this ends. And I haven't had to use different numbers either. So, yeah, Vasilevsky then denies Zajac as the Islanders get some pressure. And I kept thinking, all right, so at some point, things are going to turn around here, right? The Islanders survived that fast start from Tampa, and it did feel like things started to turn a little bit. Puck bounces were definitely going to the Islanders. This was a storyline all night. The bounces off those boards and off the little cracks in the boards, absolutely ridiculous. And it seemed like the boards were cheering for the Islanders, even though those wild, crazy bounces off the boards, that can't possibly be a thing that's a home ice advantage. Yes, it can. Because if you're a player in that building, you know those bounces off those boards. You know where that puck's going to go. So it's one of those things where it's an old-fashioned home ice advantage. And I'm old enough to remember when Buffalo and Boston had smaller arenas. And they used that to their advantage. And it was actually a difference. And it's something that in this day and age where you've got the big corporate buildings and everybody's got the same sized ice surface and everything's kind of the same, you miss out on some of that. And I think home ice advantage isn't quite what it used to be back in the day. But again, most people watching this wouldn't remember that time period anyways. So, Martin knocks one just wide. The Islanders were stuck on two shots. They were getting opportunities, just weren't hitting the net. Post for Barzell. Those don't count as shots when they're posts, so that was their second post of the game already. The Bolts iced the puck. Point then had a net drive that was forced wide. We get some sticky pokey after the whistle. And there was some of that tonight, not a ton. And after that, the Bolts end up coming out of it with the power play. Now, here's a weird thing in the playoffs I've noticed. It's not in every building, but the defense chants during the power play, it feels like NBA to me. I hear the defense chants and I'm thinking, so are the Knicks coming out or what's going on? And as much as I'd love to see the Knicks on skates and trying to come out and make a difference in the game, I don't know. Yeah, so the defense chants to me are weird because it was never a thing in hockey. It was always a thing in basketball, and here we are. The boards, again, Islanders fans, so I noticed that here as well and put it on my board, which is not a fan of me. These boards are completely independent. I can say that because every now and then one of them will fall on me. So yeah, there's that. Shorthanded break for Komarov. Vasilevsky makes the save. Gord asks Pelech to smell his glove as they get into the whole, Here, smell you. I'm not smelling you. Pull my finger. I'm not doing that. I'm not falling for that again. So, yeah, there was a lot of that going on. Turnovers by both teams. I thought they were both kind of sloppy with the puck late in that first period. Maroon had enough of Nelson's dumb helmet, almost knocked it off. There was no penalty there. You're not going to get a penalty on that, but it was weird. Because he skated next to him and just hits him upside the head. You know, just like you do to a friend where they're not expecting it. They're like, what the heck, man? I don't know. I just felt like smacking you upside the head. Big deal. It's one of those things that guys do, and women will always say, no, why did they do that? Because we can. You can smack your friend upside the head. They don't see it coming. They have to be aware that you can get attacked at any point in time. You've done them a favor. Bolts then pressed with a minute and a half left. There was a hit on Maroon at the horn. And I thought the Islanders were better in the second half of that period. Maroon was definitely stirring things up, but we're scoreless after one. And again, it felt like we had all these opportunities for Tampa. They don't have a lead. This was feeling a lot like last night between Vegas and Montreal. But in the second period, the Islanders showed how different this was. The Islanders take over this second period. So there was an ice repair delay at about 23 seconds. Mayfield then shoved Point into Varlamov. This strategy of shoving Braden Point into your goaltender, don't do that. Just don't do that. First it was Pellick, now it's Mayfield. Don't throw your players into Varlamov. He's a very good goaltender. Stop doing that. Shot totals favored the Bolts, and put right up there, as they did Vegas last night. Coleman had a chance that was saved. Bolts had a short press. Leddy had a shot that was saved, and then we get some on guard with sticks up, and my stick's bigger than your stick. Is not. Is too. And then on the next play, the Islanders open the scoring. And it's Bailey from Nelson and Beauvillier at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Roofed it in. So this is taking advantage of your opportunities for the Islanders, who had been outplayed for large portions of this game. Colton then tries to answer. Maroon had a shot that was stopped. Some Kamira minute happens at 6 minutes and 25 seconds. The announcer kept calling them scrums. The Islanders' fourth line was stirring things up, which is what they do. That's what their job is, to stir things up. And as we found out tonight, maybe score some points too. Chernak had a shot that was saved. We get a Varley chant out of that. Fans wanted a penalty on Stamkos. Doesn't happen. The Islanders get some pressure. And the momentum at this stage of the game firmly behind the New York Islanders. Shot blocks by the Bolts. Chernak couldn't get off the ice for about 3 minutes. There were a lot of times tonight where the Islanders hemmed Tampa Bay in their zone and didn't let their defense change, didn't let their lines change. Kucherov then had a shot that was blocked or saved. Fans cheered that. Bolts really off their game at this point. So the shots are from bad angles. They're just not playing with any confidence. And it was weird because it just felt like after that initial push in the first period, the Islanders just kind of take this over, and their confidence takes over. Dangerous deflected shot saved by Vasilevsky. Refs are letting things go in this game, as they tend to do in the playoffs at this stage. And then Barzal makes it 2-0, all alone on a rebound. So this was not great defensive coverage. Palmieri with the screen in front. It was Clutterbuck took the shot. Now, they gave Palmieri the assist on that. I didn't see that it actually touched Palmieri, so don't be surprised if the scoring changes on it. That was at 13:46 of the second period. But yeah, Palmieri screening. But again, you have to watch the guy. You have to trust your goaltender is going to, make the save. And you have to watch Barzal because you can't leave him alone to put it in the empty net. And that's what he did. We get 4-on-4 after the goal because these guys couldn't keep their hands off each other after the goal. So the ref's like, okay, guys, got to calm it down. Get in the box. Come on, just stop touching each other. Come on. I don't want to turn this game around, but I will. Colton had a shot that was saved, and then we get a minute and 14 seconds of 4-on-3 for the Islanders. So undisciplined penalty for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nelson had a shot that was stopped. Dangerous 4-on-3. Palmieri then had one stopped. Bolts kill it off, but right after it's killed off, Nelson had a shot that trickles wide. So it goes through Vasilevsky. It ends up trickling wide of the net. Fans going completely nuts at this point. They're up 2-0. They know another goal probably ends it. More pressing by the Islanders with 3 minutes left. The Islanders score. The Bolts challenged it for offside. Now, they had to look back about a minute. It was 53 seconds earlier that the zone entry had taken place. And it was good. It was good. So Martin's goal counts from Clutterbuck and Pellick at 17:57. Who had Clutterbuck in their fantasy team today? First off, why? And secondly, you did pretty well. Martin gets his first of the playoffs. The Islanders, of course, because it was challenged unsuccessfully, they go right back to the power play. And I thought this was Tampa Bay's worst 20 minutes of the entire playoffs. I think this was just absolutely a brutal 20 minutes and a great 20 minutes for the Islanders. So not to take anything away from the Isles. Better penalty kill by the Bolts, who understood at this point they couldn't allow another. Barzal had a shot that was blocked. Some scrappy, high sticky stuff going on at the horn. But it's 3-0 Islanders. So I thought, all right, I'm going to dig into Narnia and get the 80s Islanders jersey on. I can't jinx this, right? Right? This is why people get superstitious. This is where fans get superstitious. Because this is what happens. So third period, Beauvillier to Nelson. That one's fired wide. Bolts ice the puck. Isles are in control at this point. Absolutely in control of the game. Bolts dealing with blocked shots. Saves by Varlamov. Gaudreau turns over a puck to Pajot, which almost makes it 4-0. And some bad passes in that third period. Clutterbuck had a shot that was saved. And then the puck goes the other way. And Point takes his goal streak, turns it to 7 games from Palat and Chernak at 3:45. Bolts press for another. Puck goes the other way. Green stop by Vasilevsky. Varlamov tips a dangerous puck away from Kucherov, but they don't quite get it out, and Kucherov passes one to Johnson, and Johnson scores at 6:43. So that's 2 goals in less than 3 minutes. Barry Trotz, very wisely, understanding. This is one of those things that I really am impressed by when a coach does this at the right time. Call your timeout. It's there for a reason. This is why it's there. Call your timeout. Let everybody relax. And that's what he does. Timeout there. Bolts then press for the tie. Martin hits Chernak. We get some pokiness after. And Chernak was hurt on the play. It was a clean hit. But Chernak, it looked like, kind of hurt his shoulder on the play. He would exit. And then Point had a net break, which was defended well by Pelech. Bolts press. Sergachev had a shot that was blocked. Komarov clears it out. And the Bolts had a 3-on-2 that fizzles out, which is kind of what happened with a lot of their plays tonight. Chernak then returns to the game. Beauvillier had a shot blocked. Bolts push again. More pressure by Tampa. They're looking for the tie, right? Bailey clears it out. Bolts had a net crash. Varlamov makes the saves, as he did all night. Varlamov was fantastic. Colton fires one wide. The Islanders clear it out. We're down to 6 minutes left at this point. The clock is not the friend of Tampa Bay. Kucherov was robbed. McDonough mishandled. McDonough had a really rough third period. There were a lot of times where I was just isolating on 27. I was like, man, either he's really tired, which I know was the case where he got stuck on the ice. But part of the reason he gets stuck on the ice for that extended period of time was his inability to clear the puck. So it's kind of 6 and 1.5 dozen on the other. It depends on how you see it. He did not have a fantastic game. They need something more from Ryan McDonough. And he almost gave it to them in the final seconds of the game, but no. So there was saves going on by Vasilevsky as the Islanders were pressing for more. Vasilevsky was very good in the third period. McDonough lost it again in his own zone. Zajac had a chance that was saved. Bolts just couldn't clear it out. Palat loses the puck. They pull the goalie with 1:55 seconds left. Kucherov had a shot that was blocked. And then with 1:12 left, Hedman's called for tripping. I know that Gary Galley didn't like the call. I don't know. I mean, he wrapped him on the shin and he fell down. To me, that's tripping. But again, has the standard been higher during the playoffs? Probably. But yeah, so that looked like it was going to end it. He disagreed, smashed his stick on the glass after it was called. The Islanders then start killing the clock. They're not really trying to score on the power play. They're just trying to kill it off. So with 36.5 seconds left, the Bolts call their timeout. Goalie pull makes it 5-on-5 not long after. But again, it's to no avail. McDonough had a shot at the empty net, and it's saved by Pulock. And Pulock did it without closing his hand on the puck, without covering it with his glove in the crease, without anything that would have caused a penalty shot or an awarded goal. Beautiful play by Pulock, and maintains the lead. So I guess Varlamov might owe him a beer after the game. Your final score is 3-2 for the Islanders. They tie the series. We will get Game 6 at Nassau. Guaranteed, no matter what happens. Shots, 11-4 in the first in favor of Tampa, 17-9 Islanders in the second. 10-9 Tampa in the third. Final shots, both teams had 30. Power plays, Tampa goes 0 for 1. The Islanders 0 for 3. So Tampa's had 2 power plays in their last 2 games. The Islanders just don't get penalized. This has been the case all year. They talked during the game about how that fourth line, Martin, Cizikas, Clutterbuck, they know the line and they don't cross it. So they agitate, they bother you, but they know where that line is to get penalized and hurt their team, and they don't cross that line, at least not very often. Hits, 42-36 for Tampa. Block shots, 16-10 for the Islanders. Vasilevsky saves 27 out of 30 at one end of the ice, and Varlamov saves 28 out of 30 at the other end. So, really good game. Entertaining game. Tampa Bay made it interesting in the third, but Islanders get the win, and we have a tie series. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.